If ideas for a big creative project have long been swirling in your head, but you've never quite had the funds to make it happen, there's a website that can help you. It's called Kickstarter, and it was founded right here in New York. I'm here with Yancy, who's one of the founders of Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a website where people can fund their creative projects. So how do you define a creative project?
We define it really broadly. It's film, it's music, it's food, it's journalism, it's art. Really, it's whatever comes from the imagination.
We all come personally from, the quote-unquote, creative field. So from, I'd worked in music. Yancy had come from a journalism and music background. I had also worked in fine art. So that was where we personally, we knew those worlds a little bit.
One of the features of Kickstarter that's quite distinctive is this all or nothing thing. The fact that even if you fall $1 short of your goal, you don't get any money. Why did you choose to make it like that?
Because people procrastinate, I think, otherwise. If you just have some tip jar or something, no real reason for someone to get involved, you can just delay forever. But the all or nothing thing really forces people to, to get excited, to work on it together. And the interesting thing is that the tipping point for a project is actually just 25% of its funding goal. So if you raise 25% of your goal, you eventually succeed 90% of the time.
So Kickstarter itself kicked off over a year ago. It seems like the perfect time because the rise in social media has been so big in the last few years. How have social media services played into the success of Kickstarter?
They're definitely a huge part. If I start a project, the first thing I do is I post it on Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr, and I get the word out that way. So it sort of sits on top of everyone's friends and followers.
Are there any characteristics of the successful projects that are in common? Do you see particular things crop up again and again that would ensure their success?
Yeah, good projects definitely share some common traits. One is that they have a video. A video is so huge just to directly communicate who you are. They also have really interesting rewards. One of my favorites was a woman named Emily Richmond who was sailing around the world alone, and one of her rewards was for $15 she would take a Polaroid at some point on her trip, and the next time she got into a port she would just mail it to you. And then the third thing is really a story. Each of these projects is a narrative of someone trying to do something that they feel really deeply about.
Now, can anyone just submit their project idea and it goes up straight away on the site? What's the process?
No, they cannot. We don't allow charity projects or cause projects or sort of too businessy things. It really has to be in the creative world.
At the beginning we wondered, would we also let people do charity things? Would we do these other things? And I think very quickly those things kind of fell by the wayside, and we were like, we're really just going to focus on the arts, creative projects. This is a place for creative people. It's not a place for people for charity.
So what would your advice be to someone who wants to start a successful creative project on Kickstarter?
I would definitely say go to the site, look at successful projects, see what they do. You can kind of pick up a good sense of what makes a project successful, really cool ways to think about rewards. Get your friends involved, ask them, be like, okay, if I launch this, what do you think? So if you can do all those things, if you don't think of it as a pot of free money, which it's not, I think you'll do fine.
Be passionate about your project and tell us about it and be excited.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
To fund the project on Kickstarter or to start one yourself, go to kickstarter.com. I'm Ella Morton and you've been watching Rocket Boom NYC.